Robin Mather. I'm a senior associate editor at Mother Earth News magazine, and today I'm going to show you how easy it is to cure your own bacon at home. So let's get started. This is a raw pork belly. I asked the butcher to remove the skin, but you can also leave the skin on if you prefer the rind, and some people do. So we're going to take this out and put it someplace where we can trim it up to a nice square shape, and that's mostly so that you get bacon that slices neatly. But save these ends and pieces that you trim off, because we'll put them in the cure, and you'll want to use these for things like soups and beans and things like that. Okay, so some of these pieces will be quite large, and they'll cure nicely. That will make really nice chunky pieces for use in flavoring soups and stews and other kinds of cooking. So you'll definitely want to cure these trimmings to use along in your kitchen when you want more than just a strip of bacon. So now we have a pretty tidy rectangle here. We'll lay this in a shallow pan, and this is where I want to talk to you about using the cure. I use Instacure No. 1, which is a brand name. Other brand names for Instacure are Prague Powder, Tinted Curing Powder, and DC Curing Powder. All these curing salts are the same thing, and the function of them is that they are nitrates, and nitrates will help preserve the meat, give it the traditional flavor that you expect in bacon, as well as keeping it pink and appetizing. And curing salt also has probably the most important feature, is that it prevents botulism. So you'll see packages of nitrite and nitrate-free bacon. They are cured with celery juice or salt. And that's because celery is very naturally high in nitrates and nitrites. And so we're just going to go ahead and use this. I encourage you not to be freaked out about it. Some people try to avoid this stuff, but nitrates and nitrites occur naturally in food. They show up in not only celery, but spinach and most leafy greens, many root vegetables. Your body processes them naturally, so there's nothing really to be concerned with. So today we're going to use a basic cure. This cure is a pound of kosher salt. Obviously this isn't the whole pound. 8 ounces of sugar and 2 ounces of pink salt, or about 10 teaspoons. And there are two ways that you can use this. You can either dredge the whole piece of meat in the cure mixture, in which case you'd use the whole batch that you made, or you can do like we're going to do and sprinkle it on and rub it in. We're going to use about 2 ounces of this cure on this 5-pound piece of side pork or belly. So we're going to sprinkle on the cure here. You can see I'm being very lavish with it, and we're going to rub it in all over, every cranny, nook, every place we can reach and touch. Going to massage it in, turn it over, and add some more to the other side. Okay. Be generous. If you have flaps, as I do here, make sure you get cure in there. Don't forget the edges and the sides. You can see that this pork belly is pretty flabby right now, pretty flexible, and now we're going to take our little chunks here, make sure they get cured. You almost can't put too much of the cure on these pieces or on the belly itself. Again, you're just going to rub and rub and rub. Make sure some cure gets in contact with every piece of every exposed surface. Today we're using just a very basic savory cure, that is a cure with the pink powder mixed with salt. But frequently when I cure bacon at home, I add maple syrup or maple sugar, sometimes brown sugar, for a sweeter cure. And particularly if I plan to smoke it over fruit wood, I would want some sweetness in the cure. Additionally, you could also add some crumbled bay leaf. Some people like to add jalapeno peppers or chili powder. If you want a more traditional savory cure, you might want to stick with the black peppercorns. So if I have a nice high-sided pan like this and room in the refrigerator for it, I would typically cover this with plastic wrap, not foil. The cure will interact with the foil and cause a sort of chemical reaction, and I don't like that. But plastic wrap or wax paper or something like that in the refrigerator, or if you don't have room for a big pan in your refrigerator, you can also kind of book it up in thirds and take it into a big zip-top plastic bag. It doesn't matter if it squishes up in there, it doesn't matter one little bit. Then you're going to seal that bag, place that in the refrigerator, and every couple of days you're going to rub it, turn it, massage it again, and you're going to leave it there for 5 to 7 days. And at the end of 5 to 7 days, you'll find that this belly is quite a lot firmer, and I'm going to show you how that cure changes the texture of the meat. So this is a belly that's been curing for about 5 days, and while it certainly is still flexible, you can see that the meat is quite a lot firmer than it was with the fresh belly that I was just working with. And I want to show you by taking a slice here how the cure has started to penetrate the meat and change the color of it. So we're going to take this off. What I'd like to show you here is how the cure has started to change the color of the meat from the pale pink of raw pork to the very recognizable pinky pink of bacon. And you can see that the texture of the meat is firming there. This is not ready to pull from the cure. I would leave this piece another 2 days, perhaps 4 days, before I pulled it out and did the next step. At the end of that time, what you'll do is you'll find that the meat is very firm, and you'll take the belly and rinse any excess cure off and pat it dry with paper towels or cloth towels. And at that point then you'll want to put it in a slow smoker and smoke it with fruit wood preferably until it reaches an internal temperature of 150 degrees Fahrenheit. And you want to keep that smoke as cool as you can, but you are not cold smoking, you're hot smoking because you're trying to raise the temperature of the meat. So once it reaches 150, then you'll pull it from the smoker, let it cool, and wrap it tightly and freeze it. It will keep better if you freeze it in a whole piece or large chunks, and you'll find that it will keep in the freezer for up to 2 months or in the refrigerator for up to 2 weeks. So what I typically do is cut off the amount that I think I might use in a couple of weeks. For a single person, that's not going to be very much. And then wrap the rest of it and put it in the freezer, leave it whole, and cut it when it's still frozen the next time I need to take some out. If you don't have a smoker, as many people don't, you can also raise that temperature to 150 degrees in a slow oven. I would say set it at about 300 degrees and roast that whole slab of bacon to an internal temperature of 150 degrees. And then follow the same procedure, pull it off the heat, let it cool, and wrap it for freezing. Now I think the best thing to do is to show you how this bacon looks in the skillet and to let you see what somebody thinks about how it tastes. Oh, hi James. This is James Duft. He's the operations manager and stages all of our Mother Earth News fairs in Pennsylvania, Puyallup, Washington, and this year for the first time in Lawrence, Kansas. James, I heard you like bacon.
Yeah, bacon enthusiast.
Will you try my bacon, please?
Please.
I'm interested to hear what you think. This is a basic cure.
That is phenomenal. Cooked perfectly, by the way.
Thank you. You can see that it's quite a lot drier and crisper than conventional bacon, and that's because a dry cure pulls the moisture out, and that's what we're doing, whereas commercial bacon is brined or injected and it makes it juicy and wet. I happen to think this is much better.
Agreed.
So now you see how easy it is to make bacon at home, and I hope you'll try it yourself sometime soon. Sometimes after the bacon is cured and smoked, you may find that it's a little too salty for your taste. And if that's the case, please feel free to rinse it or to boil it briefly to remove some of the salt. And frequently recipes will tell you, especially older recipes will tell you to blanch the bacon. That's part of the reason. It's to remove some of the excess salt. For more recipes and information about other kinds of kitchen do-it-yourself projects, just like this one, please visit us at motherearthnews.com. Thanks very much. Goodbye. It really is good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.